The guys have been working really hard. We now have 3 staircases with banisters, handrails and posts. And we also have a total of 312, beg your pardon, 156 inches of skirting board cut from an old bit of wood I found in the shed. And that equals 312 feet. Because I think this doll's house is a scale of about 1/2 inch to a foot. Yeah. We've also started thinking about a flagstone floor for the kitchen, but we were still working on that. Talk about hinges now. 2 doors on the doll's house, 2 of these hinges per door, tiny little screws. And they've obviously done really good service, but they're getting a little bit loose. The doors are just being able to droop just a little bit so they don't go together properly. So we'll get rid of them and we're going to fit one of these. Nice big piano hinge, much stronger, a lot more screws, a lot less stress on the door. So that should be a much bigger improvement, or a really good improvement. And I don't know about anybody else, but I've always had trouble cutting these piano hinges, and I normally wind up with a bent one that's cut at an angle, which is a bit disappointing. So I thought I'd have an experiment with these, and so what I did was cut a slot in the wood and then screwed the hinge down like this and then cut it there so that everything's held really firm here, and you get a nice straight cut, tiny little bit of filing, and you get a lovely finish. And then the other thing to remember about piano hinges, if you're fitting any, is measure the overall distance that you need, but then divide that in half and start working out your measurements from the center of the piece of hinge. That way, when you work out from the center, you get an even gap between the hole in the end and the hole in the end there, and it just looks a little bit more, dare I say, professional. And then if you do the same for both hinges, these were both cut from one long hinge that I had in the shed, you get the same gap each time. So that gives you a much nicer, visually appealing look for the hinges. Next job for these then, they're done. I've also got a little hinge here. I might have to make a box that fits that hinge. Seems a shame to waste it. But yeah, next job for the doll's house is to rebate the actual frame so that I can fit those hinges, get the doors lined up, and then we're a bit further on. So that'll be the next job. Good morning. Right, done a fair bit on this so far. Played about and sandpapered everything. It's all looking very nice, getting some bits ready for painting. I've done the floor up here, I'll show you that in a minute. That's the attic floor, a bit dusty. Starting to work on a built-in bookcase. It's coming on quite nicely, just veneering that. The main reason for this post is the doors are back on properly now, so let's just grab the camera and I'll show you how the doors are looking with their new hinges. So again, it looks wildly out of line up here. That's because the whole thing is just put together temporarily, so once it's all squared up and glued, that'll be lovely. And there's one of the hinges, and there's the next one. So nice and strong. Yeah, good. I've done some work on the front. some of the marks. And I'm just trying to decide now what colours to do it all in. But then again, I'm also trying to decide which room should be which. Got the attic level there, there's the floor. So that's the nice wooden floor. Don't know what I'm going to do for these, maybe carpet. Okay, here's an update of where we got to with the hinges and the stairs. Hinges you've seen, here's the staircases. 1, 2, that 3, that way up. All really sturdy and strong so that they can't get broken by kids. Because I don't want a doll's house where like 3 and 4 year olds can't play with them. So they're nice and sturdy, nice and strong, but look pretty cool. So that's the staircases done. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.